Hello and welcome to SKANS eCampus session, Meet the Placewinners. Today I will be hosting this session. I'm 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝐀𝐍𝐒 from the SKANS eCampus product management team. And today we have with us 4 panelists who have all been place winners in different papers of the ACCA. This session is arranged to make sure that we allow the students to have an engagement with the people who actually got their distinctions in ACCA papers. So they are able to learn from these people and learn from their experiences, what they've gone through to actually become a place winner, and to also learn how they managed their study life and work life in the pandemic that we are currently in. We have 4 panelists with us today. We have 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗍𝐻, we have 𝗵𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗀, we have 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀, and 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀. So for their introduction, I will be moving on to each one of them one by one. So first we have with us 𝗧𝗵𝗲 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗍𝐻. So 𝗧𝗏, if you can kindly introduce yourself, you would first have to unmute your mic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is 𝗧𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗍𝐻 and I come from Tanzania. I was a place winner with the SDL exam and I studied with SKANS eCampus.
Okay, next we have Amna with us, who is a top affiliate, if I'm not wrong.
Hello everyone, this is 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗍𝐻. I was the first top ACCA affiliate in Pakistan for the December 2019 session, and I studied all my exams from SKANS eCampus. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have with us 𝗏𝗏.
Hi everyone, I'm 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗏. I got a placement in the financial management exam. It was actually my first time giving an ACCA paper because I had all the exemptions because of my degree. I graduated last year from Cass Business School, London, and the questions that I got were like, how could you be so good in FM? But I think that it was my degree that helped me a lot because most of the stuff, it was from there. I did most of it on my own. It was mostly self-study, just some online lectures, but they were all with SKANS eCampus or anyone renowned, just YouTube or something. That helped me a lot.
Thank you. Okay, so last we have 𝗏𝗏.
Hi everyone, this is 𝗏𝗏 𝗥𝗏𝘀𝗏. I was the Regional Middle East Prize winner for the Performance Management and Audit Assurance paper, and also the National Saudi Arabia Prize winner for the Taxation UK paper, as well as the Advanced Audit and Assurance paper. I did all of my papers from the F6 till the final professional paper with SKANS eCampus, and I'm quite glad to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. So this was a bit of an introduction. Now we move on to the more of the conversation side. But before we move on to that, I would just like to highlight some housekeeping rules that we are going to be following today. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comment section and we'll be taking them on one by one. We do have a set of agenda plan for today. The first point of that would be, I'm sorry, is anyone saying something? Okay. Okay, so the first agenda would be about learning from the place winners, their insights of becoming a place winner. Second would be how they managed their studies and work life from the pandemic. Third would be how SKANS eCampus helped them in the papers, which they are studying even now or they have studied in the past. And lastly, we would be taking some tips from these incredible people, how the current students who are studying with SKANS eCampus to fully utilize the product and to get ahead of the competition. So this would be our agenda for today. Again, if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments. We would take them according to the question that we are answering, and it would be a conversation style. So we would like if you can have that interaction level, and you can post any type of comments, any type of questions that you have in the comments. So without further ado, let's move on to our first section. And I would like to post this question. So let me just bring up the question. So the question is, what goes on in the making of becoming a place winner? This is a very common question. I believe all of you must have heard this question or been questioned this multiple times, that how did you become a place winner? What went into the making of becoming a place winner? What was your technique, or what things you managed, and how was it actually that difficult as we think, or was it something which just came about? You didn't actually plan to become a place winner. You just studied really hard to get good score, and coincidentally, you also got to become a place winner. So I would like to pose this question to 𝗧𝗵𝗲 first. So 𝗧𝗵𝗲, if you can just answer this question, how or what goes on in the making of becoming a place winner? Because you have been become a place winner for 3 times. So I was just, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Firstly, for all of the papers that I became the prize winner for, I did follow a similar pattern. Firstly, it was of sticking with the study plan. Studying with SKANS ECampus, we already have a study plan structured out from the starting to the end of how many classes you should be taking, what is going to be your revision period, how many questions you should be attempting. So sticking to that schedule and making sure I'm completing the recorded lectures within that time frame, appearing on the live sessions, all of them, making sure I have some predefined questions that I would like to ask the tutors, and just making sure I'm sticking to the plan. Because if you're following the plan, you'll be able to cover the course before the exam deadlines, because you only have 3 months in between each session. Secondly, it would be revision. The moment I would finish up my class at the SKANS ECampus, I would start revising on my own. I would start reading the notes that I made throughout the classes, maybe reading the SKANS notes we had, going through the Kaplan study text or even the BPP study text. It depends on your preference, or just reading some technical articles online, just to make sure that I remember what I studied. And if there's something that I don't remember, I start rewatching the videos again. Thirdly, the most important thing is practice. The moment I'm done with the revision and all the entire course, I start going to the revision kits, completing the revision kit entirely by actually writing down or typing down the answers. This is incredibly crucial because you need to perform or need to attempt the questions within the time frame, so that when you're at the exam center, you know how you're supposed to behave, you know how you're supposed to write down the answers within what time frame. So for me, that was the most crucial step, that performing all of the practice kit questions within the time structure. And then the moment I'm done with the kits, I'm going to the past papers on the ACCA website. Mostly the past papers are already there in the kit. But if there's any paper that's been missed out or they've removed it, I still try to complete it, because that helps you understand how the paper is going to be and what you're required to do in the exam center. And then finally, I would say that this is a point that majority of the students miss out, is that you have abundant of free resources online. You have the ACCA website, which allows you to watch or even listen to technical articles, which are now even in the form of audiobooks. You have ACCA Prepare to Pass sessions that are held by ACCA Pakistan. And recently, they have been covering all of the examinations, even including the foundation and accountancy papers. You have many YouTube videos as well, where the students or even the tutors, be that the part of SKANS ECampus or other tutors, where they cover some past paper questions, some other technical areas, or even just the course, that helps you understand that you can just improve yourself and go a step further. So I definitely believe that these 4 things are what I've done: sticking to a study plan, revising all of the course again, practicing abundantly, and then finally finding out anything I can on the internet, be that technical articles, free videos, or even just small lectures that you can find, just to make sure I'm perfectly prepared for those papers. And that was the trick.
Okay, that's not an easy trick, I would say, because that was a lot of things that you need to cover. But that goes on to the making of becoming a prize winner and place winner. Okay, so the same question goes for Amna as well. Amna, I think you, because you are a top affiliate, so for a top affiliate, I think that you consistently made that effort to have that great score. So how would you like to answer this question?
Well, for this, I would like to speak beyond the usual work hard, work smart, and stay focused approach, because at this level, that is only enough to get you to just the starting line of the race. That is only enough to get you to just pass the exams. And that is not your goal to be a place winner. There is just much, much more required of you. You cannot stop, you cannot ease down just when you start feeling that your preparation is enough to get you to pass the exam, because that is not your goal here. And my study pattern and my study approach was just the same as we already mentioned. There is not much more to that. What's additional is that you must have the mind of a perfectionist. You cannot ease down, you cannot stop until you are extremely confident that you are able to attempt that even the toughest and trickiest of exams that the exam might throw at you. So it's not really easy. Just like Sophia mentioned, that there's just so much more to it. And my approach was to just reread and revise each and every topic in the last month before the exam, and then practice all the relevant questions. I practice the ACCA exam papers by timing myself on these. It was really a package, and as you just said, that for being a top affiliate, you have to follow it consistently. You have to follow that same pattern for the last 4 of your exams, the most difficult ACCA professional exams. So all of this requires a great deal of self-motivation and focus, and only those who have that level of self-motivation and are able to keep it till the end can make it to the list of place winners. You have to be able to prioritize your exam and preparation above everything else. There can be no excuses. At times, you might even feel that you're losing on your social life and aspects of your personal life, but at this level you must be ready to make that sacrifice to be able to become a place winner at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very well answer. So basically we have made it clear to all of the audience that it's not easy. So it takes a lot of effort to actually become a place winner. I think just narrowing down this question, and I would just now take this question, which is a bit of a specific question, which gets asked a lot from the student side, that study or practice, or what gets you there? So what is that main key thing? So is it about just going through the study text and just going through the videos if you have an online portal available to you and just reading and reading and reading? Or is it actually about practicing more than reading? Because there is a good mix of knowledge and application that is required or tested in the ACCA exam. So I would like to forward this question to Ridha first. So Ridha, you became a place winner in a paper. So what would you advise about this, or what was your own strategy about going through that whole process?
First of all, I would like to say that studying and practicing is not basically the only way of getting through your exams. Yeah. For example, when I went through the SBL exam, I realized that you need a little more than studying and practicing. You have to have a mental mindset when you're solving questions. You have to put yourself into the feet of the questioning team, and the type of question that has been posed to you. So whether it is assuming the roles of a CFO or a manager or whatever, or auditor, that is what gets you through the exam, you see. So yeah, you have to study. I think it's a ratio of around 40 to 60. You study 30% or 40%, and the rest of it has to be dedicated to question practice. There is no way out, because as you know, the more you keep practicing questions, the more you realize that you've gone through a variety of questions, and you can see what exactly the examiners need from you. And when you look at the model answers as well, you understand that this is how I should structure my answer. But at the same time, the way I was saying, the mindset, if you don't have the mindset, you will just you'll just start writing answers for no reason, thinking that that's what I read in the question, or that's what I read in the previous attempts. I should just put that in. Sometimes you need to think out of the box, especially when you're answering questions for an exam such as SBL. You can't just write everything that you wrote or what you read in your books and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's the thing. You study, you practice, but you also have to have a mindset, a specified mindset. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we'll stick on mindset, because that's a big thing when you are studying, and it takes a lot to become that. So same question goes to Fakia as well. So Fakia, how would you like to answer this question?
Bilal, I think it's a mix of both of them. You do need to, like for FM, there are MCQs in that paper as well, which are like knowledge based. You need to learn the formulas and stuff. So at times I found that I had to go back to the study material to just jog that part of my memory. Like, how can I answer that MCQ? Because that's really knowledge based and you need to study for that. But then if you go on to the section B, which was more of applying it, I think that requires a lot of practice, because you cannot do it without a practice. And for me, it was the first exam that I was giving, computer-based exam in my life. So I had to do like a lot of practice. I was scared I was not going to finish it in time. But like Rida said, you do need to understand what the examiner wants from you. So it's a lot about getting into the mind of the examiner, for which I would say that the best thing I did right before the exam was read some of the marking schemes and the examiner's comments, the examiner reports, which actually tell you what the examiner was looking for and what the students actually wrote and where they went wrong. I think for every exam, you need to go over at least a few of those so that you know how the examiner wants you to attempt the exam. So it's a little bit of everything, really, I think.
Okay, great. So that's a bit of I think something which the tutor repeats, or the tutors always repeat this, that you have to come up with both, a good mix of both of them, study plus practice, and both of you gets you there. I think for numerical papers, maybe practice is a better solution, but for the theoretical papers, there's a lot of reading involved. So you need to make sure that you understand the questions, you understand the examiner's mindset, and as Rida said, that there is a specific mindset that you need to take in when you are going in the paper. So so this was the first section, and we learned from really good insights from the place winners. Moving on to the second section, which is about the pandemic. So the unfortunate pandemic that we are currently in. We thought that it's over, but it's not over yet, and it's the third wave that we are in, and we have experienced a huge, you can say, disaster in the previous year, which was 2020, and it's continuing on with the same pattern in 2021. And some of us have gotten used to it, some of us got depressed because of it. So there were mixed opinions about how it has impacted the different type modes of learning. And especially the students were really affected, the tutors were affected. Everyone had to adapt to the newer technology that was posed in, and the newer things that was coming our way. And at that time, online learning became a thing. Even though SKANS eCampus, we are glad that we actually had been in business, and we were actually running this online platform for around 2 years before the pandemic struck. So we were mostly ready for it, I would say. So we had that all system going on, but overall in the world, things changed a lot. So with regards to this section, I would like to ask this question. Okay, so how has the pandemic affected your studies and work life? So this is a bit of a question which relates to both those who were studying at that time and those who were working at that time, because everything got affected. Everyone's lives was affected. So I would pose this question to Amna first. So Amna, if you can, because I understand that you have been working during this pandemic. So how your work life was affected?
Just as you said that I was working at that time, fortunately, I had already passed all my ACCA exams before the pandemic started. So I was not left hanging between the delayed exams and preparation. But once you have completed the exam phase, you are extremely eager and motivated, get on with your professional life and to practically apply all those concepts that you have learned. You're highly motivated in the start. I started my PER in January, and the pandemic, I think, struck in somewhere between March. I had the experience of working. I since I had started internship at an audit client, so I had done most of my work at an audit client, and then we were asked to work from home. Since I also did not have that level of experience at that time to manage everything on my own at home and draw out any conclusions and do my work the perfectly as perfect as I wanted it to, or had I done it if I were around my seniors and all others. But still, I think one was the extremely supportive team I got during that time, who were also very highly experienced. They were there to support. They were there to guide me wherever I needed guidance. And also, I think ACCA itself was really helpful in that time, launching programs such as Digits and 2 weeks too strong to keep you motivated, also to make you aware of all the other things that are required of you to become a successful individual. I had spent the last 2 years before the pandemic extremely busy with my exam preparations, and I had literally no time for anything else. And after the pandemic and after the work related to the client ended, there was an extreme sense of idleness, which I had never experienced in my life before, and also led me to feel a bit useless even because there was literally nothing else to look forward to given all the uncertainty. There were no work assignments as well during that time. So just as I said that ACCA proved helpful in this regard, I got myself enrolled for the ACCA 6 digits program and the ACCA 2 weeks too strong program. And since I was already familiar with the online learning approach because I had studied my last 4 papers from SKANS eCampus, I was able to, grasp the hang of it, of how to take those sessions and how to perform and how you were supposed to carry yourself with the online learning and all. Also, since I had started my PR before, I was also aware of the areas I needed to work on to excel at my job. So I also polished and developed more those skills and worked on myself so that whenever the pandemic ended and I had to go back to start my office, I was ready and even more prepared than before to handle everything that came in my way. Thank you.
You. That was very well answered. So I'm not really sure. I would like to pose this question to 𝗧𝗵𝗲. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, were you working at that time when pandemic hit? I'm not really sure if you were working at that time or you were just studying. So
For me, it was the other way around as Amna.
yeah.
I started a month before the pandemic hit and the lockdown was imposed. I started working on February 2020. A month later, the lockdown was imposed and I was required to work from home. And at that time, whilst I was working, I was preparing for my final 2 professional papers of ACCA, as well as completing my thesis for the OBU BSc program. So for me, it was a burden of work that came up out of nowhere. And the biggest problem was that for work-related work, I had no guidance that I could sit down and get trained face-to-face with my seniors or the directors or the managers as an external auditor. And everything that I had to do was to be done remotely. There was a feeling of, you could say, claustrophobic because I felt like I was just limited within the certain 4 walls of my house. I had to complete my studies of ACC papers as well, but thankfully I had SKANS eCampus at that time, so that was something that was handled. But for my thesis preparation, I had to opt for the online mentorship, which I would definitely say did not give me the experience which I could have gotten if I had done it face-to-face with a mentor. And similarly for my work as well, I spent the entire last year working remotely. So my first year of working as a professional, as an external auditor was completely done remotely. At the starting, it was quite difficult because I was required to learn at that moment. The first year is always the time period when you're learning stuff, just like Amna mentioned. You're supposed to get a grasp of things. You're supposed to learn how you're supposed to work. I never even got a chance to go to client visits during this entire year. I started making my first client visits in 2021. And that too, sadly, again, restrictions started coming in and those were limited as well. So it was definitely, I felt like that professionally, I was set back quite years back. That the first impression that I wanted to make, or the things that I dreamed about, that when I'm going to start working as an external auditor, I would be completely hands-on, making sure that I'm getting top-notch work done. So it was definitely impacted a lot. The quality of work could not come out that great. And it made me doubt that whether I was even up for the work or not. There was always uncertainty whether the program would even continue on because of the pandemic. The clients were reluctant. Mostly of the SMEs, they were willing to move forward the audit sessions. Even the big firms that we had, or the big clients we had, they were willing to move forward the deadlines for the audit filing. So it definitely created a sense of uncertainty in my mind that I was not going to be able to fulfill my duties properly and that I would not get the training that I need to grow professionally. But thankfully, I would definitely say that since the start of 2021, things have started getting better. I completed my ACCA in January. I completed my Oxford Brookes degree as well in October 2020. And now I've completed 1 year working as an external auditor. And it is going really well now. I've gotten a hang of the online system. I know how I'm supposed to deal with clients, even if they are in another country remotely. And And thankfully, I do get a chance now to make the client visits, but under certain restrictions. So it has been difficult, but like Amna mentioned, that we do get a hang of it. We need to get a hang of it. And because sadly, this is something that has impacted all of us, and it's not something that's going to go away very easily. So it's better we face it and we make sure that we're making ourselves ready. And also I'll point out that with the pandemic coming in, it actually shows that how our generation, or you can say the people that students like us, we are not that tech savvy. Because if we would have been up notch to the technology that has already been in place, like for example, SKANS ECampus was already in place 2 years ago before the pandemic hit. This just shows that we were certainly behind the phase of technology, and we need to work on it, and just to make sure that we are up on the date. And I think today, as of now, people have started getting a hang of it. They work, they know how they're supposed to do it. But yes, the feeling of isolation, loneliness, especially feeling claustrophobic, that is something that I'm still dealing with, but it is something that you get a hang of it. And I hope that things start to get better and you'll be able to move forward with all of this. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope the same. I think we all hope the same, that things do get better, because things have been getting worse and in different parts of the world. I'm not really sure about how things are in Saudi, but in Pakistan, things are getting bad. And I believe the same is happening in many parts of the world. So this was the question about pandemic and how it had affected. But coming to the students' perspective, because I believe that Ridha at that time and Fakih at that time were students. So coming from a student's perspective, so the question would be something like, so how did you approach online learning to resolve the issues you had? So this specifically talks about the student issues. So what was your thought process of searching for an online platform or online learning platform for ACCA? Because I believe you both must have opted well before that you had to do ACCA, but when the pandemic hit, you might have to decide on the different factors how an online learning platform would be able to solve your issues. So what were your expectations with online learning? Did it resolve the expectations? Did it meet the expectations? Were you satisfied with how things ran about and all of these things? So I would first like to request Ridha, if you can answer this question.
Yeah, you see, online learning has helped a lot because even prior, I started using SKANS ECampus before the pandemic hit. I started in February 2020, and for me, online learning sort of helped me because I had to literally move to different cities to look for a place to study, because we don't really have ACCA is not a very common thing in Tanzania at the moment. So there are very little platforms where you can actually, or classes, or even tutors who actually teach ACCA. So when I was searching into online classes and I found SKANS was a Pakistani online platform, I was very, first of all, it's quite patriotic because, you belong to Pakistan. So, that's one thing. Secondly, I saw the rating. People absolutely loved SKANS ECampus, and that motivated me. And I said, let me give it a shot. And I remember I started with F8 with Miss Masma, and her teaching skills were so awesome that I, literally felt like, the whole thing, the environment, that I didn't even feel that I was not in a physical classroom, sitting in the convenience of my home, helped me. And her way of teaching and everything was so amazing that online learning didn't look like a bad thing anymore. So yeah, online learning has actually helped, especially with SKANS.
Okay, that's good to know. And we have a testimonial from Ms. Basma as well. Okay, so I think the same question I would like to pose this to Fakih now, that what was your thought process of coming into online learning?
Bilal, I graduated in May 2020, and I was out of options because I couldn't go for a master's because it had to be online. So what was the point of paying the regular fee and not getting the experience? Then I thought about working, and again, I had concerns about working online. I didn't want to do that. Didn't want my first job to be online. So then I thought maybe why not pursue ACCA, just do the exams while we're in the pandemic. So my dad helped me get in contact with a few people who were working with him, and they referred me to certain tutors they knew who were willing to provide tuitions privately online. I was very reluctant at first, and let me tell you, all my fears proved true. So it was a pathetic experience. People in Pakistan, when they're not teaching through a platform, they're not professional at all. And it was such a bad experience. And then someone referred me to SKANS eCampus, and I did all my research. I read the reviews, I called them, I asked them so many different questions. And when I finally felt like I could take the leap, I decided to do SBR. And that was the best decision I think that I made, to do SBR with SKANS eCampus. And I think that Miss Alina, she was the best, and her lectures were so professional. Everything was available on time, so organized, just the way I like it. And I think I mentioned this to her as well, and she was so pleased that she could be of help to me. But I think that the pandemic was a big hurdle. It did make me think about online classes because I couldn't get out of my house. And then after all the wrong experiences, I was pointed towards SKANS eCampus, and I can tell you that it resolves all of my issues, really.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I think we have already touched on this topic of how SKANS eCampus actually helped the lives of each of you, and more specifically for papers such as AA, which is taught by Ms. Basma, and SBR, which is taught by Ms. Alina currently. And it's great to know that SKANS eCampus helped, because as part of the team, and I was one of those who actually initiated this project, and I was in the starting of it. So I really feel that level of pride that, okay, that we made something happen, and it actually helped people all across the world. So it's a great pleasure to actually work for something or to be a part of something which helps people in their lives. So moving on, and now coming to the specific question of SKANS eCampus, which Faki has already touched on, that so we did learn something about that. There were many online learning platforms which are coming in. They were actually flooding in. Their different institutes were coming in, and there were many good institutes coming in. SKANS eCampus was already there, so it had that level of experience with how online learning is a thing, and we had tried and tested different methods to actually become or stand where we are today. So the question would be something like this, is that how did you come to know about SKANS eCampus, and how was it different from other online platforms? Because I believe all of you must have different options available to you, because there are many good competitors out there of SKANS eCampus. So what was your thought process? How did you choose SKANS eCampus over others? And did you find it better? Did you find it not better? At one point when Fakia was saying that, I really thought that she was talking about SKANS eCampus. I was like, okay, yeah, this session is not going the way I thought it would, but thankfully that was not it. So I would pose this question to, I think, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 first. So I think 𝗧𝗵𝗲,
Yeah, I actually started with SKANS courses of accountancy for my foundation in accountancy. I did the first two papers, one MA1 with Mr. Hamad and FA1 with Ms. Fatma. And the experience was brilliant. I was studying there face-to-face, and the overall vibes of the classes, the teachers, the tutors, and even the institute, it was amazing. But I had to move back to Saudi Arabia again, and then to continue my ACCA from the skills level paper, I needed to opt to some educational provinces. But the problem was that in Saudi Arabia, I didn't have any face-to-face classes at that time. And to take the classes, I had to travel to Bahrain, another country nearby. But traveling was, again, something which would take a lot of time, and it wouldn't give me the 100% focus that I needed to give to my papers. So when I found out that SKANS eCampus has been established by the SKANS School of Accountancy, I definitely agreed to go with it, because I already knew about the tutors. I've already been familiar with the way they teach. I know how they teach, the methods, methodologies, the way the tutors prefer to go quite in depth with the classes. They like to prefer to link it with the paper. Everything is quite focused towards the paper itself and the questions that could appear in the examination. So it was definitely something that was that I just needed to do at the start, because when I do compare it with the other institutes, it was completely different by the fact that we were quite exam focused in SKANS eCampus. We make sure that whatever we're studying, for example, for the advanced audit assurance paper, we're completely focused on how I should be attempting the paper as an external auditor rather than just a student going to appear in the AAA paper. And just like Ridha also mentioned, that when you're studying the SPL paper or any other paper, you're supposed to be in that mindset. So the classes were always making sure that we were in the correct mindset when we're attempting the paper. Be that for the reporting paper, you're making sure you understand the standards the way they could be tested. Or you're doing the audit paper, you make sure you understand the way you're supposed to attempt it as an external auditor, making sure you're meeting with the deadlines, making sure you're understanding the questions, and you're being very client focused rather than just generic answers, because generic answers are never going to get you marks. So I'll definitely say that quite the exam-focused approach of SKANS eCampus and then the tutors themselves were definitely something that made me accept that I would like to continue my journey of ACCA throughout for all of the papers at SKANS eCampus. And I think it has been a brilliant experience, and it paid off and made sure that I become prize winner for more than 4 papers.
Okay, so I think there was a bit of an internet again. So Rida, if you can also quickly answer this question. So what was your thought process when you were choosing SKANS eCampus, or I don't know?
Actually, in the beginning, I was quite skeptic, to be honest. I thought, studying online was not going to be able to give me the same kind of experience, as such, studying from home, the internet. Sometimes you don't even feel like studying at home, it requires a lot of commitment, to be honest, especially, when physical classrooms, the teacher is actually on your backside, trying to make sure that you study on time and everything, submit assignments. So I thought maybe if I study online, I won't be able to, be as dedicated as the others on the other side. But I think the SKANS eCampus faculty, the teachers plus the staff, you get those every weekly emails on your status reports and everything. You get updated reports on your assignments, and you get mock exams and everything. So for me, SKANS eCampus experience was just amazing, honestly, because it totally changed my mindset of how I thought it was going to be and how it had to be. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So brilliant. That's really good for me to know that things are turning out to be great. So I think the next question, we are actually running out of time a bit, but if we can get the answers quickly. So the next question would be about the exam process, because it is usual for some students when they are actually presenting themselves in the exam. Sometimes they are surprised to see, especially when computer exams are introduced, many students actually try all the resources available to them in order to pass the exam. So this question would be specific to how the paper examining approach, or say the examination technique taught you by SKANS eCampus helped you develop, or the skills needed to pass the paper. So I think I would first like to take this question to Amna.
Well, honestly, for me, I did not feel any lack of physical face-to-face classroom interaction while I was studying with SKANS eCampus. And I think as long as you follow the study and study plan they have laid out for you, which is, I must say, very smartly arranged. And you have, I think you have 2 to 3 live sessions in a week in which are solely dedicated to solving the questions, and then you have your weekly assignments. If you follow that plan, if you ensure your participation, and ensure that you are present in all the live sessions, you're interacting with your tutor. The tutors themselves are very interactive. What gives you more of a physical classroom experience in SKANS campus is that the teachers, they know your names. They'll call you out by your names, and it's as if you feel they're right there in front of you. They know you, and you feel kind of the need to be active and the need to be responsible, and be responsible in submitting your assignments and all this. So as long as you are following that plan, as long as you are taking seriously the guidelines of your tutor, whatever he or she is explaining, and you are making use of all the abundant material that is available out there for you, I think you will be prepared as best as you can for the exam. I think I did all my last 4 professional exams from SKANS eCampus, and I was the top first ACCA affiliate of Pakistan. So I think the achievement pretty much speaks for itself. Also, what you must ensure is your commitment towards it, because in the end, it all comes down to your level of focus and your commitment towards doing it, with the lack of physical monitoring you have while studying online. But then again, if you don't have the right approach towards listening and understanding, you will not even do that well in a physical classroom as well. So I think it's key to follow the study plan. It's key to submit all your assignments on time. You must ensure your availability and your participation in all the live sessions, and you'll be prepared just as best as you can for the exams. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the same question, I would like to pose this to Fakiha now, that how was the paper experience and how SKANS eCampus actually helped you with that exam application technique?
At SKANS, from the very first day, we were taught about what type of so like the first orientation session, it started with talking about the actual exam, what it's going to be like. So from the very beginning, it's really exam focused. When you do your first week of lectures, there is extra practice in them, which is related to the topics, and it's all from the past exams. Then there is the live practice session where you solve the questions with the tutor, and they actually tell you what's the format of answer, what does the examiner want to see. Then there were the assignments that followed after the live sessions, where you're required to apply that. And I think if you do that within the given time frame, so those are actual exam questions that were given for the assignments, and they were timed. So if you do them within the time and then you go and sit the exam, I don't think it's any different than doing the assignment, because if you from the very beginning put yourself in that position, you're sitting in a room with if it's paper based, you just have a timer. If it's computer based, you have the timer going on there as well. If you from the very beginning make yourself used to the exam conditions, you practice hard to complete it in time and apply the techniques that are being taught. Since I said it's also exam focused, if you apply those techniques that are being taught, the actual exam is going to be no different than the practices that you were doing. And I think it's all because of the way it is being taught and how you're taken right to the exam from the very beginning. So for the SBR exam, when I was sitting in the exam, I don't think that it was, and even though the pattern was a little different than what the past exams were like, that I did not feel threatened by the paper, because I had seen so many of questions that they didn't threaten me like that. So I think that's what it takes.
I think there is some disruption. So I think that's pretty much it for the section that we had. I think we do have a couple of questions that I would like to they are actually posted to all of the participants, but I'm afraid I might not be able to consider it for all of the participants. Let me just look at the questions that we have. So we have a question from Mr. Noor Khan, I believe. Question for the candidates: what kind of mindset do you need to have a pass or professional paper? Is it different than the article paper? So this is coming from someone who has passed maybe the fundamental papers or the applied skills level paper, and now they are wanting to understand that what is the difference of mindset that they need to have to make sure that they are prepared for the strategic level exam. So I would like to maybe 𝗧𝗵𝗲, if you would like to answer this question.
Absolutely. The mindset for both of the papers are completely different. In the skills level paper, you have MCQs, which makes a major part of the paper. And then you have the other questions, you can say, which are essay-based. So for the skills paper, it's completely depending on the MCQs and the essay type questions. But when you're doing the professional papers, the rote learning, the learning of formulas, the learning of the topics or different terms and conditions, it's not going to help you because you need to answer real life scenario questions in those papers. For example, for the audit and assurance paper in the skills level, it's completely different than what the advanced audit assurance paper is. In the AA paper, you have MCQs, you have slide questions, which are quite bookish, and even the audit procedures or the different type of stuff you're supposed to write down is quite basics. But when you go to the advanced audit assurance paper, you're dealing with an actual client there. The scenarios are quite realistic, and you have to think as per the client and be very realistic at the moment and very client focused rather than being what you've studied in the study text, in your notes, or even in the classes. And that is something which you can completely challenge up and win against it if you practice many past papers. Making sure you're doing as many past papers as possible, whatever's available on the ACCA website, whatever's available on your platform, the kits that are available, just making sure that you understand how you're supposed to attempt the paper, you can quite clear it. So the mindset is completely different. In the professional papers, you're supposed to be the auditor, the CEO, the CFO, or the person that is in the question and that you need to answer it as per you were there. You're sitting there in front of your client, you're sitting there in front of your directors and you're answering them face to face. It shouldn't be bookish, it needs to be very realistic. So I definitely say that's the answer to it.
Okay, great. I think Miss Alina did join in, and she was just saying that she's proud of all of you. So those who have studied with Miss Alina, they know. We also have a comment for Rida, I believe. Rida's success is very motivating for us Tanzanians. She has introduced us to a new horizon. So Rida, this is specifically for you because I believe, as you have just mentioned, that there are not many people from Tanzania who know ACCA or who are doing ACCA, and there are not many resources available for students who are living there. So this is a big thumbs up for you. So I think we would be concluding the session. I would like all of you to actually give your final concluding tips to the students who are of SKANS eCampus. What is your big takeaway from SKANS eCampus and going through that whole process, and what would you like to give a tip about? So just the concluding things that you like to people to follow, or that process or that approach that you like them to all follow. So I would post this to all of you one by one. So if you can quickly just give that one piece of advice which we like to give to SKANS eCampus students to make sure that they get successfully in the exam. So I would first post this to Rida.
My only advice for students of eCampus would be listen to your teachers. They are professionals, they know what they're doing. So if they're telling you to use a certain approach, use it because they know exactly what has to be done in an exam. So you better listen. Secondly, in case someone fails or you cannot do as good as so you should not lose hope. You should keep attempting and attempting and attempting. If you lose your spirit, you lose everything. So you should always have this thing in yourself that you have to keep going. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to bring this to Amna.
Well, my tip for you is that the SKANS eCampus team is very dedicated, and they are there for helping you for so whatever problem it is that you have, and you any lag that you're feeling for not being in a physical classroom, reach out to them, ask them. I'm sure they'll be there to help you. From in my experience, they've all they were there. They were there to solve all the problems I had, and I had literally no problem in getting my coaching and then appearing for the exam. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we would like 𝗲𝗂𝐀𝐍𝐒 to give her concluding tips.
So my one piece of advice would be to follow the exam plan that SKANS eCampus has. Do everything according to the plan in time because it's very well planned. And if you have any questions, any problems, do not hesitate. Even if it's technical or content related, do not hesitate to drop an email. Everybody at SKANS eCampus is very prompt with their replies and they address the issues very quickly. So just keep it smooth, try to keep it smooth for yourself so that there is no break in your work and just focus.
Okay, so it and that focus. So last but not the least, 𝗧𝗵𝗲.
Same points as everybody else has mentioned, and just few more points, just to make sure, stick to the study plan, just like 𝗲𝗂𝐀𝐍𝐒 said. Make sure you're doing enough practice that's available on the study platform. You're doing the assignments on time. You're completing your mock exam under time pressure. And even if your tutors are allocating you some additional assignments, do them. Follow their advice and just try to relax and just make sure that it's just an examination. You'll clear it out. Just give yourself a bit of a break. It's not the end of the world. It's just an exam. You'll pass it out and then you'll complete your ACCA. It's just a matter of 2 to 3 years and then you're on your way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So there's only one question left, and I am afraid I would not be able to leave it here. So it's, I think, posted for 𝗧𝗏 here. So 𝗧𝗏, if you can quickly just answer this, and then we can call it a day. So Tanzim Riaz have asked, 𝗧𝗏, what was your approach with SBL exam? So if you can quickly give us final tips for SBL.
My approach with SBL exam was simple. You have to keep practicing questions, as well as, like I said, the mindset. I always realized that whenever I was sitting for any professional exam, if you don't have a mindset to yourself when you're answering those questions, you won't be able to. Because if you keep thinking what was written in the textbooks and in the exam kits, those things really don't help unless you absorb yourself into the role of whatever has been asked you, especially in the leadership exams. You will not be able to pass. So I think that's a main thing. And don't focus on the notes too much. If you keep practicing and have a healthy balance between studying and practicing, that is very good for passing the SBL exam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think that would be all for today. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you to all the panelists. All of you were great. And it was a really, really wonderful session. I really enjoyed throughout the session. There were many different insights that we had to learn, and there were many things that we actually got as feedback for SKANS eCampus about how we can actually move forward. And it actually gave that push to us that we are making that impact in the lives of many people around the globe, and we should continue doing so. And we need people like you supporting us and students who are excelling at their studies and who are presenting themselves as a role model for all the other students of ACCA around the globe. So thank you all for joining in. I would just like to add on this that SKANS eCampus does provide tuition for ACCA. We are developing in other studies and certifications as well. But currently we are giving tuition services for ACCA and for CA Pakistan. And we have these 3 products available for ACCA, which is one is the comprehensive study support, which is normally called CSS by our teams. Other is the resource, the revision game, which is for those students who are basically repeating or just want to get ahead and want that quick refresher about the whole course. Another is exam success, which is for those students who have studied the content, but they want to get that extra practice done. For them, the exam success product is there. They are all available on our website, SKANSecampus.com. We hope you had a wonderful session. Thank you for being a great audience today. And that's it. This is 𝐵𝗲𝐀𝐍𝐒 signing out. Thank you.